guest today is Colleen Carson. She's the manager of Poquitos Bothell, and Poquitos has been very generous to me and a group that I've started, a networking group for local business owners. And Colleen has been instrumental in helping us have a venue where we can come and meet once a month. In fact, it's the third Tuesday of every month.
Coming up here.
Coming right up. In fact, we got, we're like less than 2 weeks away now. So if you have an event, if you have anything coming up here for the company that you need help with, Colleen's the one you're going to talk to. And now we're going to launch from there into our conversation about Poquitos and how things are going here for Colleen and some exciting announcements they've got going on. So, Colleen, first of all, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about, what's your background and how did you end up at Poquitos?
Okay. I moved all over the country as a kid, actually, but lived here till I was 9, and I always felt like Seattle was where I wanted to call home. Mm-hmm. So, I guess not Seattle, Washington, because I came back from Maryland to go to college at Wazoo.
Oh, okay.
And so I got my degree there. I actually was just watching a side note that Mike Leach is leaving the Cougs.
Oh.
It's kind of a bummer because we loved him as our head coach. But so then I moved to Seattle after college. And my aunt was actually just opening the first Poquitos on Capitol Hill.
Oh, really?
Yep, and I had plenty of restaurant experience, and so I asked her to set me up with a job, and she did.
Having gone through college, you had restaurant experience.
Yes. I worked full time.
Yeah.
At a restaurant in Pullman.
Those go hand in hand.
Got my degree as well.
That's been my experience.
Yeah.
That's survival tactics.
Yeah, it was great, and but some of my best friends I've made in my entire life have been in the restaurant industry because you tend to make fast friends.
Right.
It draws a certain kind of person, I think.
Well, is it like friends under fire sort of thing?
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like you're dealing with things in customer service in general, I think, that a lot of people don't deal with, and so it whether you bond over griping about this tail or that, but most of the time you have a good time. You guys get off work, and then of course there's the hanging out all together at the bar and whatnot. But so I got a job pretty much right after Poquitos on Capitol Hill first opened, and I worked there for 4 years, and then I moved away to Albuquerque for a little bit. And I actually had a little stint as the general manager of a brewery down there, which was really fun. I got some experience, and then moved back up right as this place was opening. And so
you got great timing.
And give me a job again, please. Yeah. And so.
Excellent. So you're actually a family member then as well?
Yes, I try to downplay that because.
See, now that is the sort of inside scoop you're not going to get anywhere else.
Yeah, but I actually think it worked against me in some ways because it's a lot harder to. It's not that you don't have faith in a family member, but before you put them in charge, you want to make sure that you're really positive and confident because that would be really awkward if
absolutely
you got fired from a family business. So
I've been in one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
In a family business?
Yes.
That was your family business?
It was family members that owned the business, and I was an employee, but a remote site management sort of scenario. But different conversation.
Yeah. I love it. But it definitely, I almost feel like I had to prove myself more. In some ways, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So you actually opened this restaurant then?
Yes, I started as a server right when I moved back, and then I showed interest in wanting to manage, and so our general manager at the time, Chris Moser, he made me the AGM, the assistant general manager, and then when he left, he's actually a regional for our company now, and so I took over as general manager.
He's a great guy too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you met him?
I did. Yeah, I worked with him a
wonderful.
little bit when I was working with the Bothell High School Drama Boosters.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
Yeah, I got to meet Chris and work with him a little bit on some of our fundraising projects.
Yeah,
so he was, again, immensely helpful. Poquitos has been an awesome member of the community and just kind of helping with a lot of those projects.
That's great. That's what we're trying to do. I think that one of the first things we picked up on is this is really community driven, this whole area, which is great. And so we're part of the Chamber of Commerce, and just the networking you do there alone, and it's very much.
It's really fun.
Trying to keep the business here. We have there's a guy that just bought a sign company just up the street, and so we're going to try to start. Just keeping it in Bothell is really nice when you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's what it's all about. I mean, we're all making our livings here, and that's kind of the way I look at it. Is I make my living in this community. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can to support the small businesses and the activities that are happening in the community.
Right.
So,
But Bothell's been great about welcoming us, all the other business owners and everybody. Yeah, it's really nice.
So now you had mentioned, in fact, so what you can't see is on the other side of the restaurant, this place is buzzing. There's a bunch of people in the kitchen right now. They're probably losing their minds, I would imagine, because you got an event going on here tonight, right? With internally.
Well, yes. So we're doing an education, a tasting of our winter menu, which is debuting tomorrow, and so we're tasting all of our staff tonight so that they can be prepared to sell all of our new items tomorrow. And it's really good. I'm excited about this menu change. I'm excited about all of them, but this one has a pork chop on it. That sounds really good. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, and I haven't even got to try anything yet. So
they do all the testing in secret, and then they bring it out, roll it out for you all at once?
No, well, not in secret per se, but it's because our executive chef is Manny Arce. I don't know if I pronounced his name properly. I apologize, Manny. But he is our executive chef on Capitol Hill. And so our head chef, Tony, goes up there, learns all the recipes, comes back and teaches everything, and then we try stuff. So that's why, unless I go up there, I'm sure I would be able to try stuff sooner. But yeah.
So I've got to think. I mean, I worked very briefly in the restaurant industry. They knew that I wasn't a fit.
It's not for everybody.
It is really, really hard.
It is. I'm glad that you noticed that, because I think people, it's funny the number of resumes I get with people who have no experience, which I appreciate that they're trying to make a change and they think it'd be something fun to do.
Right.
But, they come from like a desk job and they're like, well, I just thought I'd try something new. And I was like, I don't think you actually understand how hard this can be. I mean, you're just, you have to balance all sorts of things. It's all about efficiency and...
It's a whole different level of suffering.
Yeah, I guess in some ways. I think most of the time it's just good fun, but it just takes a certain kind of person who can, be taking orders, even greeting people, and putting in orders after taking those orders, and sometimes dealing with an angry guest, or, sometimes you even get stuck at a table talking because they like your service so much, which is fantastic. That's the best problem to have.
Absolutely.
You get stuck talking and it's hard to break away, and so it's just managing all of that in your mind at the same time. And I think people
pacing,
underestimate how hard that is. Yeah.
No, I don't know how you balance all of those things. I mean, the whole metaphor of spinning plates.
Yeah.
It's really impressive when I see a restaurant that's well run. I mean, that's one of the things that we've always enjoyed. We've done a number of events. I mentioned the Drama Boosters before.
Yeah.
We did several events here where we'd have, like, our board would come in, or we'd have kind of after events for, we call it adulting parties.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
And so we'd come in, and it's like the place is just humming.
Yeah.
But it's all smooth, and you've always done a fabulous job, and the food has been exceptional.
Good. I like hearing that. Yeah. We try to keep it a well-oiled machine. There's those nights where sometimes things grind to a halt, but I would say that they're few and far between, which is really nice. Yeah.
So what have you got coming up? What's on the calendar for?
Well, we have the winter menu change, so that's going to be
Excellent.
Taking up some of our time over the next few weeks as our kitchen learns all of that, and our staff. After that, we're already kind of talking about Cinco de Mayo. So Cinco de Mayo this year is going to land on Tuesday. So it's going to be Taco Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I'm sure we're going to be doing some specials in regards to that. And one of the things we're really trying to work on here is a 4th of July beer garden.
Seriously?
Yes, so that's what we're working toward. We're actually going to talk to the city at the beginning of February to see how we can work it out, so it's not prohibitively expensive. But the parade goes down Main Street and comes right past here, so it's a great opportunity to have a little beer garden where people can post up and watch.
Well, you guys, I mean, you're pretty much set up. I don't know if you haven't been here, they actually have this place kind of fenced off already. It's like permanently fenced as a beer garden.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. So it's just a matter of as far as I know, from what I gathered, no one has ever thought of this before, at least in the Bothell area. So we kind of talked about it last year, but sort of planned a little too last minute, I think. And so trying to come up with a solid plan. And then in general, all of the managers in this area, from Amaro to Stax to the Ryan Mills at the bank here, and the Seattle Electric Bike Shop, we have a big email chain. Oh, and the craft spot, which is awesome, just down the street.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. We have a big email chain going right now where we're trying to come up with ideas, if anybody has any, for events that we can host over here too. Because you have all the wine walks over there on Main Street, and they don't want people crossing this main thoroughfare. Totally understand that.
Right.
Especially when there's alcohol involved. So we're trying to come up with ideas of things we can host on this side, particularly since there's less traffic back here.
Yeah.
It's really easy to shut these roads down because there's just not as much traffic as Main Street and all these streets. So.
I think you guys need to do a mezcal tasting.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. How could I forget? So we're going to be another program we're debuting is you know how you have like a mug club at a brewery?
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing something of that nature for tequila. So we're going to have
sweet.
like a map, right? And on the map, in each region, there's going to be a few tequilas that you can pick from. And once you complete your map, once you've had a tequila from every region or a mezcal in some cases, you'll get like a little glass that has Poquitos on it and Premium Tasters Club.
Excellent.
I believe the completed maps are actually going to stay with us. We're still kind of figuring that out, but it should be in the next few months that's going to happen.
Do I get my own personalized coaster or something too?
I think we're definitely trying to work out what we're going to do, but it's going to be fun. Just get people involved in tequila and mezcal, like you said. I mean, that's a very new spirit that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
And I think if people like Scotch, they'll really like mezcal because it's got that smoky. But tequila is, people still think of Jose Cuervo, which is understandable.
That's the entry point.
Still has a place, right? But for the longest time, I did not like tequila because I didn't know anything about it.
That was the only experience.
Right. It was, the hangovers and all of that.
The brutality of it.
Yeah, exactly. So working at Poquitos on Capitol Hill for years, we would have these, these liquor reps come in and taste us on all of their products, and I was like, well, this is actually really good. So it'd be fun to be able to give that to the community a little bit, a place to come learn about tequila. So
you bet.
Yeah.
I just had mezcal for the very first time at a friend's bachelor party 2 years ago, I think it was. It was actually a friend of theirs had spent almost 2 years that he spent in Mexico, going around to different communities, and he was doing actually a photo tour of their mezcal production.
Oh yeah, and did he bring some back?
And then he brought back.
So that's like the moonshine kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah, he had the good stuff.
Yeah.
He had a little case that he brought back.
Oh wow.
With all these nice little bottles, and so for the bachelor party we got to taste mezcal for the first time. I was like, that's a completely different experience that I was not expecting.
It's really different, yeah. And so we actually have a few cocktails on the menu that have mezcal in them. Okay. And then we have our classic purist margarita, which is just fresh lime, agave, and tequila.
Right.
No messing around. It's just a good scratch margarita. And we can do mezcal in that for, I think it's $2 more or whatever. And it really changes the cocktail.
Oh, sure.
It's delicious, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that smokiness of the mezcal, and I mean, you're spot on. If you like Scotch, like the single malts and the classic smoky scotches,
it's a good bridge.
It is a fantastic, just kind of a cultural jumping off spot there.
Yeah. So so we have that on the horizon. I'm not entirely sure when the debut for that will be, but yeah, that's gonna be exciting.
So, what's the rest of your year look like?
Well, so we'll probably do something nice for Valentine's Day again. We kind of last year, because we opened in March of 2018,
right?
February of 2019, that was our first Valentine's, and so we did a special menu for that day, and it was actually really popular. We just weren't sure if we were going to be a spot for Valentine's Day, although I think obviously the ambiance in here is very romantic, especially at night. So I guess people agreed, and so we had a lot of people come out, so I'm sure we'll do something special for Valentine's Day. Let me think. What else? Cinco de Mayo is always the big one that we have to plan for in advance.
You gotta be ready for that one, yeah.
Yeah. And then New Year's Day, way in advance, is going to fall on Friday this year in 2020. So will be open. Oh, also we are open for lunch on Fridays now, which I don't think a lot of people are aware of.
Yeah,
we're open
just
for
been open
brunch
at 3, right?
on Saturdays and Sundays, but we're also open for lunch on Fridays at 11 a.m.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, and so it's kind of, odd being just open for lunch one day, but we just wanted to see where the level of interest was. And I think down the line we are going to open up for lunch all the time, but right now it's just Fridays. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, primarily lunch foods, or are you going to do like some later, or like brunch sort of things?
Yeah, so we've actually had brunch going on for quite some time on Saturdays and Sundays. And so, so during lunch, just starting this week actually, it's going to just be lunch on Friday. Just lunch items, and then we are debuting along with this winter menu. The following weekend, we're going to be doing an elaborate brunch menu, similar to what they already have on Capitol Hill. We kind of had a consolidated one, so we're going to expand our brunch menu, and there's some great stuff on there.
Excellent.
Yeah, I love the brunch up there, so I'm excited to have that come to Bothell.
And so if somebody wants to schedule an event. I've been through the process with you, and you were fabulous to work with. But if somebody out there wants to put together an event for their company or family or whatever, are you the one to call?
I am, yes. So my email is online, but it's just ccarson@poquitosbothell.com. It's the best way to reach me. But on our website, there are contact forms for large parties, and that just comes right to me.
Okay.
So that's, and then we also have catering as well.
Yeah.
So we do large to-go orders for any off-property event, and we can deliver it as well, for an additional fee. But the form for that is all online as well. So it's a pretty user-friendly website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I can't speak highly enough about the way you have treated us and the opportunities you presented to us, as well as the fact that the venue is just really fun.
Yeah, good.
I mean, you've got this. So you can't tell this from the video, but there's a huge backspace that we actually use for our networking event, and then there's the big dining hall and kind of the main bar area on the other side.
Right.
And then you've got a full outside seated dining area.
Yep.
And so in the summertime, it's fabulous. I mean, this place is just it's right here in the heart of Bothell. You've got everything you could possibly want in a venue.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then we have obviously the audio video capabilities in here, and we have the curtains drawn, when you want to, if you want some privacy. So, and then during the week, typically we're not open up here at all, so it can feel like your very own, very private space, as you guys do when you use the rest of that space too, and not just this room. But
no, it works fabulous.
Yeah, and that can just, again, if you wanted this room specifically, that can all be requested online. We refer to it as our PDR, private dining room.
Excellent.
So that's what we call it,
Okay. So again, Poquitos Bothell, right here in downtown Bothell, kind of the heart of everything. In fact, we're right across the street from City Hall.
Yes, which is where
there's great parking.
Yes.
Key.
Parking is a little rough around here.
Occasionally it's challenging to find street parking, but underneath the City Hall, directly across the street, there's parking till midnight, and it's free, and there's tons of parking there. Lots of space.
I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah, so people sometimes get spooked by that. And like, you're good.
No, I know, it is hard. And it's funny, we were just at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and we had someone from the city there, which was wonderful to have them there. And so we kind of brought up, the parking. And I heard mention, don't quote me, but I heard mention that there might be a parking garage going in.
Oh, that'd be
south
handy.
of Poquitos over there. That would be very cool. So,
no doubt.
For all these new businesses. I mean, it's an influx of cars and vehicles into Bothell that, we just don't really have space for currently. So.
Right. Well, and the thing that's really interesting is, with everything being so central and consolidated, it's very walkable.
Yeah.
You just got to get here is the challenge, and of course, that leads to the problem with the vehicles.
Right. I keep hearing a tell of Trader Joe's coming in, but then it was like not, and then now I'm hearing it might be again over by the Shag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be cool, and that's the goal for Bothell, is to all be walkable for everyone who lives here. So. Grocery store, restaurants, shopping, all of that.
Excellent. Well, Colleen, is there anything else that we should be sharing with people? Anything you'd like to say?
I don't think so. Just that I've heard a few people say that we have the best bar seating in Bothell, and I think that I am really, really proud of our bar. Our staff is amazing, and the ambiance in there is beautiful.
So actually, I do have one question before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
So obviously you have a focus on Mexican food.
Yes.
Southwest style food. What do you? Is there a genre that you call this? Is it like fusion? Is it a?
So I would say that we have moved a bit towards fusion. I mean, there's even a little bit of Spanish in there.
Mm-hmm.
I hope my head chef doesn't kill me if I'm saying this wrong, but I know that when we first opened, our idea was based around Oaxaca style Mexican food.
Okay.
The region in Mexico,
Right.
and then we've kind of expanded from there and brought in different influences from all around Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I definitely think that our vision is always authentic Mexican food.
And I think that's the one thing that we've always appreciated is that it's just it doesn't feel like it's trying to reconstitute or be anything. It's not, while it's authentic,
Right.
it's not trying to be kind of, this is your family Mexican restaurant. It's actually introducing really interesting flavors and unique
Right.
foods and things that you don't get at your typical Mexican Southwest restaurant.
Right.
And that's the fun part. That's what we've always appreciated is that it's like, it's not like you're just going somewhere for Mexican food. You're going someplace for something interesting and a unique dining experience.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've been eating the food for 8.5 years and I'm not tired of it. So
Still going.
that's saying something, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, when we first opened, there is a lot of that. Oh, you don't give free chips and salsa. That was a big issue. But I'm telling you, I see it day in and day out. They make everything from scratch down there, down to the broth that we put in our soups.
Right.
So it's just a lot of love and good ingredients that go into our food. So that's why sometimes some people think we have a higher price point or that we charge for chips and salsa,
Right.
but I think it's pretty reasonable with what we're offering.
It's exceptional food. It is not your typical going out for Mexican food.
Yeah, I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Poquitos Bothell, this is Colleen Carson, and if you need anything, she's the one to talk to.
Yeah.
And I'll put her information in the video as well. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thanks, Colleen. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Bothell.
Yeah.